Commander Jake Morrison stared at the screen in front of him. The image showed something he had never seen before in his 12 years of space travel. It was a ship, but not like any ship humans had ever built. The metal looked alive somehow. It curved and twisted in ways that made no sense. Parts of it seemed to glow with a faint blue light that pulsed like a heartbeat. "What am I looking at?" Jake asked. Lieutenant Amy Brooks stood next to him. She was the best scientist on the Earth Alliance vessel Horizon's Edge. Her fingers moved quickly over her tablet as she read the data. "I don't think it's just a ship, Commander," Amy said. Her voice was quiet but excited. "The readings are strange. It has a heat signature. It's generating its own energy. And look at this." She pointed to a line of numbers on her screen. "It's breathing, or doing something that looks like breathing." Jake leaned closer. The alien vessel drifted in the darkness of space near the Kepler 442 system. They had been mapping this sector for 3 months and found nothing but empty space and dead rocks. "Now this, could it be dangerous?" Jake asked. Amy shook her head slowly. "I don't know. But sir, if this thing is alive, it might be hurt. The energy readings are weak. Whatever it is, it's not doing well." Jake thought for a moment. Every decision in deep space carried risk. But they were explorers. This was why they came out here. To find new things. To learn. "Get a team ready," Jake said. "You, Martinez from engineering, and Hayes from security. Full suits. I want everyone safe." 20 minutes later, the 3 crew members stood in the airlock. Amy checked her suit seals for the 3rd time. Next to her, Carlos Martinez adjusted the tools on his belt. He was a good engineer, the kind who could fix anything. Across from them, Lieutenant Kevin Hayes held his rifle loosely. He didn't expect trouble, but he was ready if it came. "Remember," Jake's voice came through their helmet speakers. "We're here to learn, not to fight. Be careful." The airlock opened and they stepped into the void. Their magnetic boots clanked against the hull of their own ship. Then they pushed off, using small jets on their suits to fly across the empty space between the 2 vessels. As they got closer, Amy gasped. The alien ship was huge. It had to be at least a mile long. The surface rippled slightly as they approached. The blue glow grew brighter. "It knows we're here," Amy whispered. Carlos pulled out a scanner. "The hull temperature is rising. Just by a few degrees. It's definitely reacting to us." They landed softly on the surface. Amy expected it to be hard like metal, but her boots sank in slightly. It felt more like very thick rubber. She knelt down and pressed her gloved hand against it. The moment she touched it, warmth spread through her glove's sensors. She could feel a vibration, soft and steady. It reminded her of putting your hand on a cat and feeling it purr. "This is incredible," she breathed. "Amy, look," Carlos pointed. The surface beneath Amy's hand was changing. The solid material became clear like glass. Through it, they could see inside the ship. A tunnel opened up smooth and round like a throat. "Is it inviting us in?" Kevin asked. His hand moved closer to his rifle. "I think so," Amy said. She looked at the opening. Every instinct told her this was important. This was first contact with something completely new. "Commander, the ship is opening for us. Requesting permission to enter." Back on the Horizon's Edge, Jake stared at the video feed from Amy's helmet camera. He saw the tunnel, saw the way the ship's surface had turned transparent. "Proceed with caution," he said finally. "But proceed." Amy went first. She stepped into the opening and felt it close gently behind her team. They were inside now. The walls around them glowed with soft light. It was beautiful and strange. Everything looked grown rather than built. There were no straight lines, no sharp corners, just smooth curves that led deeper into the ship. They walked slowly. The floor was soft under their boots. Amy ran her hand along the wall and felt that same gentle vibration. "The air in here is breathable," Carlos said, checking his scanner. "Oxygen, nitrogen, the right pressure. How does it know what we need?" "Maybe it can sense us," Amy suggested. "Maybe it's trying to make us comfortable." They walked deeper into the ship. The passages branched and curved. Sometimes the walls would pulse with brighter light, as if guiding them somewhere. After 10 minutes of walking, they entered a large chamber. The room was circular and high. The walls glowed brighter here. In the center of the floor, there was a depression like a bowl. Strange symbols covered the walls, but they shifted and changed as the humans watched. "I think this is the control room," Carlos said. "Or maybe the bridge." Then they heard it. Not through their radios. Not through their ears. The voice seemed to come from inside their heads. "Please," the voice said. It was weak and tired. It sounded female, though Amy couldn't explain how she knew that. Please help me. I'm so tired, so dirty. I have been alone for so long. All three humans froze. Kevin's hand went to his rifle, then dropped. This wasn't a threat. This was a plea. Hello? Amy said out loud. Can you understand us? Yes, the voice replied. I learned your language from your transmissions. I have been listening to your ship since you arrived. Please, I need help. Who are you? Amy asked. Her heart was racing. This was really happening. They were talking to an alien intelligence. I am a traveler, a carrier of life across the stars. My kind has many names in many languages. In yours, you might call me a living ship. I have been drifting for 300 of your years. My crew died long ago. I could not save them. Since then, I have been alone. The walls around them pulsed with a sad, dim light. I am covered in the dust of stars. The voice continued. Debris from 1,000 worlds clings to my skin. Small creatures burrow into my hull. I ache everywhere. I cannot clean myself. My systems are damaged. I had given up hope of ever feeling clean again. Amy felt tears in her eyes. She didn't know how, but she could feel the loneliness in that voice. The pain. This being had been suffering for centuries. We can help, Amy said. She looked at Carlos and Kevin. Both of them nodded. We'll find a way to help you. Why? The voice asked. It sounded surprised. I can give you nothing. I am too weak to carry you anywhere. Too damaged to be useful. Why would you help me? Amy smiled inside her helmet. Because you need help. That's enough. The chamber filled with light. It was brighter now, warmer. Amy felt something she couldn't quite name. It was like the ship was crying with relief. I had forgotten, the voice whispered. I had forgotten that kindness like this existed in the universe. What are you called, gentle beings? We're humans, Amy said. From a planet called Earth. Humans, the voice repeated. The words seemed to echo in their minds. I will remember this name. I will remember that when I was lost and alone and covered in pain, humans came and offered to help me. Jake's voice crackled through their helmet speakers. Brooks, report. What's happening down there? Amy looked up at the glowing walls around her. She understood now. They weren't inside a ship. They were inside a living being. A creature that had sailed between stars for longer than human civilization had existed. Sir, Amy said slowly, we've made first contact, and she's asking us for help. The voice came again, softer now, almost shy. Can you please clean me, human? I know it is much to ask, but I am so very tired of hurting. Amy pressed her hand against the wall. The surface was warm under her glove. Yes, she said. We'll clean you. I promise. The light around them pulsed with something that felt like hope. 3 days had passed since they found her. The crew of the Horizon's Edge had been working day and night to understand their new friend. They called her Stella. It was Dr. Peter Grant's idea. He was the ship's language expert, and he said her real name couldn't be spoken by human mouths. Her true name was a pattern of lights and electromagnetic waves that lasted almost a full minute. Stella liked her human name. She told them it made her feel less alone. Jake sat in Stella's central chamber. He had taken off his helmet an hour ago. Stella had changed the air just for them. She made it perfect for human lungs. The temperature was comfortable. It smelled faintly of something clean and fresh like rain. Tell me about your people, Jake said. The walls glowed softly. Stella's voice filled his mind. It was getting easier to hear her now, clearer. We are called Luminars, she said. We are born in the hearts of stars. We grow slowly over thousands of years. When we are young, we are small, no bigger than your hand. But we grow, we learn, and we evolve to travel the spaces between worlds. Your ships? Jake asked. We are more than ships, Stella said. There was pride in her voice. We are companions. We choose smaller species to bond with, to carry through the void. We share our bodies with them. They live inside us, care for us, and we take them to new worlds. It is a partnership, a friendship. What happened to your last crew? The light dimmed. Jake felt a wave of sadness wash over him. They were called the Vesh, beautiful creatures, six-legged and covered in silver fur. They sang the most wonderful songs. I carried them for 80 years. We were happy together. Stella paused. Jake waited patiently. Then came the plague. It killed them quickly. In days they were all gone. I tried to save them. My immune systems fought, but the disease was too strong. I held their bodies for a year before I released them to space. I gave them back to the stars. I'm sorry, Jake said quietly. After that, I drifted. I had no purpose. No crew to carry. I passed through nebulas and asteroid fields. Dust collected on my skin. Small space organisms attached to me. They don't hurt me badly, but they itch. Always itching. Like your mosquitoes, I think. Annoying and endless. Jake looked at the walls around him. Now that he knew what to look for, he could see it. There were patches where the glow was dimmer. Areas where the surface looked rough instead of smooth. You've been in pain this whole time? Yes, but pain becomes normal after centuries. I learned to live with it. I thought I would drift forever, slowly getting worse. Eventually I would have died, covered in debris, blind and deaf and unable to feel the solar winds I once loved. Why can't you clean yourself? I have systems for that. Small parts of myself that can detach and maintain my outer hull, but they were damaged in a meteor storm 200 years ago. I tried to repair them, but I need materials, resources. I've been drifting through empty space. Nothing but void and distant stars. Carlos Martinez entered the chamber. He had spent the last 3 days studying every inch of Stella he could reach. He carried a tablet full of notes and diagrams. Commander, can I borrow you for a minute? Carlos asked. Jake stood up. What do you have? Carlos pulled up a 3-dimensional model of Stella on his tablet. I think I understand how to help her. Look here. He pointed to sections of the model highlighted in red. These are the areas with the most damage. Micrometeorites embedded in her hull. Colonies of space fungus. Dust layers up to 3 inches thick in some places. Can we clean that? Yes, sir. Our maintenance drones can do most of it. We'll need to modify them. Add softer brushes. Use chemical cleaners that won't hurt her. Stella's been helping me understand what's safe for her biology. How long will it take? Carlos grinned. 2 weeks. Maybe 3. But Commander, we need to do this. This isn't just maintenance. This is surgery. She's been suffering for centuries. We can end that. Jake nodded. Make it happen. Use whatever resources you need. That evening, Captain Lisa Chen authorized the mission. She was a tall woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had commanded the Horizon's Edge for 6 years. Nothing surprised her anymore. But Stella came close. This is unprecedented, Lisa said to her senior staff. We're going to spend weeks cleaning an alien life form. Command is going to have questions. Let them ask, Jake said. This is what we're supposed to do out here. Make friends. Build bridges. Stella isn't a threat. She's a person who needs help. Lisa smiled. I agree. But let's do this right. I want safety protocols. I want constant monitoring. And I want everyone who works on this to understand what they're doing. This isn't just a job. This is first contact with a new form of life. The next morning, Operation Gentle Touch began. Sophie Turner was one of the first volunteers. She was only 23, fresh out of training. She grew up on a mining colony where the only view was rock and darkness. She had dreamed of seeing the stars all her life. Now she floated outside Stella's hull in a spacesuit, holding a soft brush attached to her suit's tool arm. She gently scrubbed at a patch of dark residue. Underneath, Stella's natural color emerged. It was beautiful, like mother of pearl. It shifted between blue and silver and hints of purple. How does that feel? Sophie asked. Wonderful. Stella's voice came through her helmet speakers. I had forgotten what it felt like to be clean. Even this small patch. It's like you're lifting a weight off me, Sophie smiled. She kept scrubbing. Small flakes of debris floated away into space. Each stroke revealed more of Stella's natural beauty. You're very gentle, Stella said. Most species treat me like a machine. They are not cruel, but they are practical. You touch me like I am alive, like I matter. You do matter, Sophie said. Everyone matters. Other crew members joined the work. They formed teams. Some handled the drones. Others worked manually on delicate areas. Dr. Helen Price, the ship's doctor, studied samples of the organisms living on Stella's hull. Most were harmless. Some were actually beneficial. Helen worked carefully to remove only what hurt Stella, while leaving her natural microbiome intact. Amy Brooks spent hours studying Stella's biology. It was like nothing in Earth's databases. Stella was part organic, part technological. The lines between machine and life were blurred beyond recognition. How old are you? Amy asked during one of their conversations. I have lived for 12,000 of your years, Stella said. Amy's jaw dropped. 12,000 years? That's older than human civilization. Yes, I have seen many species rise and fall. I have watched stars be born and die. I have traveled to the edge of your galaxy and back. I have met beings of pure energy and creatures that exist in dimensions you cannot perceive. But I have never met anyone quite like humans. What makes us different? You care about things you shouldn't care about. That broken drone you spent a week repairing even though it would have been easier to replace it. The plant you keep on your ship even though it serves no purpose. The way you name everything. The way you talk to me like I am your friend after knowing me for only days. Stella's light pulsed warmly. Most species see me as a tool. A valuable tool, yes. They treat me well, but they see me as a ship first and a person second. You do the opposite. You see me as someone who is suffering, someone who needs comfort, and you give that freely. Amy felt tears on her cheeks. Maybe that's because we know what it's like to hurt, to be alone. Humans have been lost and scared for most of our history. We're good at recognizing pain in others. Then your pain has made you kind. Stella said softly, that is a rare gift. On the 5th day, something wonderful happened. Lieutenant Danny Walsh brought his guitar into Stella's central chamber. He was a quiet man who usually kept to himself, but he loved music. He sat down and began to play. Stella had never experienced music before. Her previous crews communicated through sense and electromagnetic pulses. They had no concept of organized sound as art, but humans did. And when Danny's fingers moved across the strings, Stella discovered something new. What is this? She asked, her voice full of wonder. It's a song, Danny said. It's called music. We make it to express feelings, to share emotions. It's beautiful. I can feel the vibrations through my entire body. Play more, please. Danny smiled and played for an hour. Stella listened to every note. She began to pulse her bioluminescence in time with the rhythm. It was clumsy at first, but she learned quickly. By the end, she was creating light patterns that matched the music perfectly. Other crew members heard about it. Soon, people were bringing instruments, books, stories. They shared human culture with Stella, and she absorbed it all with the joy of someone discovering color after a lifetime of gray. You are teaching me to feel again, Stella told them. For so long, I only felt pain and loneliness. Now I feel joy, curiosity, hope. You are giving me back my life. Jake stood in the observation deck watching his crew work on Stella's hull. They moved with care and patience. Each person treated this as something sacred, not a duty but a privilege. She's changing, Amy said, standing next to him. Have you noticed? She's brighter. Her responses are faster. Even her structure looks healthier. You think it's working. I think we're doing more than just cleaning her hull. We're healing her heart. 2 weeks into the cleaning operation, the transformation was clear. Stella's hull gleamed in places where the crew had finished their work. The difference between the clean sections and the dirty ones was dramatic. It was like watching someone come back to life. Sophie Turner floated near one of Stella's sensor arrays. These were massive structures that looked like crystals growing from Stella's hull. They could detect everything from radio waves to cosmic radiation, but they had been covered in a thick layer of dust and debris for decades. Sophie had spent 6 days carefully cleaning just this one array. She used a soft cloth and a special cleaning solution that Carlos had developed. It was gentle enough not to harm Stella, but strong enough to remove the stubborn grime. With each wipe, the crystal became clearer. It sparkled like a diamond in the distant starlight. Can you see better now? Sophie asked. Stella's response was immediate and filled with emotion. Yes, oh yes. I can see stars I haven't seen in a century. The colors are so bright, so clear. I had forgotten how beautiful the universe is. Sophie smiled inside her helmet. Her arms ached from the repetitive motion. Her back was sore from the awkward angles. But she didn't care. This was the most important thing she had ever done. Tell me what you see, Sophie said. I see a blue giant star 3 light years away. I can count the planets around it. 5 worlds, 2 with atmospheres. I see a nebula forming in the distance. New stars being born. I can feel the solar wind from your sun. It's gentle and warm. I had forgotten what warmth felt like. Stella paused, then continued. And I can see you, little Sophie. I can see the determination in how you move. The care you take. You are so young, but you have such a good heart. Sophie felt tears in her eyes. I just want to help. You are helping more than you know. Back inside the ship, Carlos Martinez was dealing with a more difficult problem. Some of the micrometeorites embedded in Stella's hull, had been there for over 50 years. They had burrowed deep. Removing them was delicate work. If done wrong, it could cause more damage than leaving them in. Carlos worked with a team of 3 other engineers. They used precision tools that could extract the meteorites without tearing Stella's tissue. Each extraction took hours. They had to be careful, patient, and gentle. "This is going to hurt a bit," Carlos warned before each extraction. "I understand," Stella would reply. "Do what you must." But Carlos could feel her flinch each time they pulled out a piece of embedded rock. It bothered him. He was causing her pain even while trying to help her. "I'm sorry," he said after a particularly difficult extraction. "Don't be," Stella said. Her voice was tired but grateful. "This is a good pain. The pain of healing. I have lived with the pain of slowly dying for so long. This is different. This pain has purpose." Carlos pulled out another chunk of rock. It was the size of his thumb and had been lodged near what Stella said was equivalent to her nervous system. When it came free, Stella gasped. Her whole structure shuddered. "Stella," Carlos said urgently. "Are you okay?" For a moment there was silence. Then Stella's voice came back, stronger than before. "That one was there for 93 years. I had learned to ignore it, but now that it's gone I realize how much it was hurting me. Thank you, Carlos." "Thank you." Carlos wiped sweat from his forehead. "Only 47 more to go. I can wait. I have time now. For the first time in centuries I have hope. I can wait." Dr. Helen Price was making discoveries of her own. She had been studying Stella's biology and how she healed. What she found changed everything. Helen called a meeting with Jake, Amy, and Captain Lisa Chen. They gathered in the medical bay where Helen had set up her research. "I need to show you something," Helen said. She pulled up a series of scans on the wall screen. "These are Stella's cellular structures from 3 days ago. And these are from today." Jake leaned forward. He wasn't a biologist, but even he could see the difference. "She's healing faster." "Much faster than she should be," Helen said. "According to Stella's own biology, the damaged areas we've repaired should take months to fully regenerate. But they're healing in days. Some in hours." "Why?" Amy asked. "Because Luminars are social creatures. They're not meant to be alone. Stella's been suffering from something like severe depression for 300 years. The physical damage to her hull is real, but the emotional damage was worse. It was preventing her from healing properly." Helen pulled up another image. This one showed Stella's energy systems. They were glowing brighter than before. "We're not just cleaning her. We're giving her a reason to live again. The attention, the conversation, the care we're showing her. It's triggering a massive healing response. She's not just allowing herself to heal. She wants to heal now." Lisa Chen sat back in her chair. "So what we're doing is more than maintenance. It's therapy," Helen said simply. "We're healing her mind and that's healing her body." Jake thought about this. It made sense. He had seen it in the way Stella responded to every interaction. How she seemed to glow brighter when people talked to her. How she would pulse with happiness when someone shared a story or played music. "Does she know?" Jake asked. "I don't think so. Not consciously. But I think she feels it." Amy spoke up. "Should we tell her?" "I think we should," Helen said. "She deserves to know that she's getting better. That there's hope." That evening, Jake returned to Stella's central chamber. He had asked to speak with her alone. The walls glowed softly in greeting. "Hello, Jake," Stella said. Her voice was warm. She had started using their individual names recently. It made each crew member feel special. "Noticed." "Stella, we've learned something important," Jake said. "Dr. Price has been studying how you heal. She says you're getting better faster than you should be." "I feel stronger," Stella admitted. "My systems are responding better. Pain that I lived with for decades is fading." "It's because you're not alone anymore," Jake said gently. "Your species needs companionship. Without it, you can't heal properly. But now you have us, and that's making all the difference." Stella was quiet for a long moment. Her lights dimmed slightly. Jake worried he had said something wrong. "I didn't know," Stella finally said. Her voice was very soft. "I thought I was simply old. Damaged beyond repair. I didn't realize I was dying from loneliness." "You're not dying anymore," Jake said. "You're healing, and you're going to be okay." The chamber filled with light so bright Jake had to shield his eyes. When it dimmed, he could feel Stella's joy. It was overwhelming and beautiful. "You saved my life," Stella said. "Not just by cleaning me, but by caring about me. By treating me like a person instead of a thing." How can I ever repay this? You don't need to repay us, Jake said. This is what humans do. We help our friends. Friends, Stella repeated. The words seemed to echo through the chamber. Yes, that is what you are. My friends, the work continued. Lieutenant Danny Walsh spent an hour every evening playing music for Stella. She had learned to create complex light shows to accompany his songs. Other crew members started joining in. Someone brought a keyboard. Another brought drums. Soon they had small concerts in Stella's central chamber. Stella loved every moment of it. She told them that in all her thousands of years, she had never experienced anything like human music. It moved something deep inside her. It made her feel alive in a way she couldn't fully explain. Sophie Turner still spent most of her time outside working on Stella's hull. But now she talked to Stella constantly. She told her about growing up on the mining colony, about her parents who were always working, about feeling invisible and unimportant. I understand, Stella said. I felt invisible too, drifting in the void where no one could see me, where no one cared if I existed or not. But you're not invisible now, Sophie said. We see you. We all see you. Yes, and I see you too, Sophie. I see a young woman who is braver and kinder than she knows. You are important. Never doubt that. Sophie had to stop working for a few minutes. She cried inside her helmet. No one had ever said anything like that to her before. Amy Brooks made another discovery during her research. Stella's species could live for hundreds of thousands of years if they had crews to bond with, but alone they deteriorated quickly. Stella had survived 300 years on her own. That was remarkable. It spoke to her strength and will to live. Most Luminars die within a century of losing their crew, Amy told Stella. You're incredibly strong. I didn't feel strong, Stella said. I felt tired. So very tired. But you kept going. You didn't give up. I suppose I hoped. Even when it seemed impossible, I hoped that someday someone would find me. Someone who cared. And you did. The third week of cleaning began with a breakthrough. Carlos and his team finished extracting all the embedded meteorites. Every single one was removed safely. Stella's hull was finally free of the debris that had plagued her for decades. How do you feel? Carlos asked after the last one came out. Stella's entire structure glowed with brilliant light. I feel wonderful. I feel like myself again. No more constant aching. No more fragments digging into me. I feel free, Carlos smiled. Good. Because now we start the really fun part. We're going to polish you until you shine like a star. And they did. The crew worked tirelessly. They cleaned every inch of Stella's massive hull. They removed the space fungus carefully, making sure not to harm the beneficial organisms that Stella needed. They scrubbed away centuries of accumulated dust and grime. As each section was completed, the fourth week began with a surprise. Stella's propulsion systems, which had been barely functional for centuries, suddenly roared to life. Not fully, but enough to worry the crew of the Horizon's Edge. Jake was in the command center when the alarms went off. Captain Lisa Chen was already pulling up the readings. She's moving, Lisa said. Just small adjustments, but her engines are active. Jake felt a spike of worry. Stella, what are you doing? Her voice came through the ship's communication system. She sounded embarrassed. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to alarm you. I was testing my systems. For the first time in so long, I think I can actually fly properly. I wanted to see if it was true. The tension in the command center eased. Jake laughed. You scared us. But that's wonderful news. I scared myself too, Stella admitted. I had forgotten what it felt like to have power. Real power. To be able to move with purpose instead of just drifting. Over the next few days, Stella began to test more of her systems. Her communication arrays came online. Her shields, which protected her from radiation and debris, strengthened. Her internal systems, which had been running at minimal capacity, surged back to full function. Dr. Helen Price monitored every change. What she saw amazed her. Stella wasn't just healing. She was regenerating. Parts of her that had been permanently damaged were rebuilding themselves. This shouldn't be possible, Helen told Amy. The damage was too extensive. Some of it was centuries old. But look, she pointed to the scans. New tissue is growing. Her systems are rewiring themselves. She's becoming whole again. Because she has a reason to, Amy said softly. Yes, because we gave her hope. Sophie Turner had become Stella's closest friend. She spent every free moment either working on Stella's hull or sitting in the central chamber talking with her. They talked about everything. Dreams, fears, the future, the past. "What will you do when you're fully healed?" Sophie asked one evening. Stella was quiet for a moment. "I don't know. I should return to my people. Tell them what happened. Tell them about humans. But I don't want to leave you." "Any of you? We don't want you to leave either," Sophie said. She felt tears starting. "But you have a home, a family. You should go back to them. They are my species, but you are my family now. Is it strange that I feel more connected to you than to other Luminars? You saved me. You cared for me. You saw me when I was at my worst and loved me anyway." Sophie pressed her hand against the glowing wall. "That's what family does." "Yes," Stella said. Her voice was thick with emotion. "That is exactly what family does." Lieutenant Danny Walsh had written a song. He called it Stella's Song. It was soft and beautiful, with a melody that seemed to capture both sadness and hope. When he played it for her, Stella cried. She didn't have tears like humans, but her lights flickered in a way that everyone recognized as crying. "No one has ever made art for me before," Stella said. "In all my thousands of years, no one has ever cared enough to create something just for me. This is the most precious gift I have ever received." Danny smiled. "You inspired it. You deserve to have your story told. Will you teach me to make music?" Stella asked. "I want to learn. I want to create something beautiful too." "Of course," Danny said. "We'll start tomorrow," and they did. Danny taught Stella about rhythm, melody, harmony. Stella learned quickly. She began to create her own compositions using her bioluminescence and electromagnetic pulses. The results were unlike anything humans had created. They were alien and beautiful and deeply moving. Soon, Danny and Stella were performing together. He would play his guitar while she created light patterns and harmonic frequencies that humans could barely perceive but could definitely feel. The crew would gather to watch these performances. They felt privileged to witness something so unique. Carlos Martinez completed the final structural repairs. Every damaged section had been patched or regrown. Every system had been tested and optimized. Stella was in better condition than she had been in 500 years. "You're ready to travel," Carlos told her. "You could cross the galaxy if you wanted to." "I know," Stella said. "I can feel it. My power has returned, my strength. For the first time in centuries, I am truly myself again. That must feel amazing, it does. But it also makes me sad. Because being myself again means I can leave, and leaving means saying goodbye to all of you." Carlos sat down in the central chamber. He had grown to care deeply about Stella. They all had. "You don't have to leave right away." "No, but I should. My people need to know what happened. They need to know about humans, about what you did for me. This is too important to keep to myself." Jake organized a final meeting. All senior staff and anyone who had worked closely with Stella were invited. They gathered in the central chamber. Stella's walls glowed warmly, welcoming them all. "We need to talk about what happens next," Jake said. "Stella, you're healed. Your systems are fully functional. You're free to go wherever you choose." "I want to return to my people," Stella said. "There is a place we Luminars gather, a system near the galactic core where we share our experiences and rest between journeys. I haven't been there in over 300 years. They probably think I'm dead." "How far is it?" Amy asked. "At my current capability, 3 months of travel. But I could be there in 3 weeks if I pushed myself." "Don't push yourself," Sophie said quickly. "You just got better. Take your time." Stella's lights pulsed with affection. "Always caring for me, little Sophie. But I will be careful. I promise." "What will you tell them?" Lisa Chen asked. "Your people. What will you say about us?" "The truth. That I was dying. That I had given up hope. That a species called humans found me and saved me for no reason other than kindness. That you taught me to feel joy again, to laugh, to dance, to make music. That you treated me not as a tool or a vessel, but as a person who mattered." Stella paused. Her voice grew stronger. "And I will tell them that humanity is special. That in all my thousands of years across all the species I have known, I have never encountered beings quite like you. You care about things you shouldn't care about. You help those who cannot help you in return. You see pain and rush to ease it. These are rare qualities in the universe." "What do you think they'll say?" Jake asked. "I think they will be curious. Luminars value compassion and partnership above all else. When they hear what you did for me, many will want to meet you, to see if what I say is true." Amy leaned forward. "Would they come here?" To Earth? Perhaps. Or they might invite you to the gathering place. Either way, I believe this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship between our species. You helped one lost Luminar. That one act of kindness might change the future for both our peoples. The weight of that settled over the room. They had been focused on helping Stella. None of them had considered the larger implications. They might have just made humanity's first true alien allies. There's something I want to offer, Stella said. Her voice was hesitant. When I return to my people, I will be restored fully. I will be ready to take a new crew, and I would like that crew to be human. The room went silent. Everyone looked at each other in shock. You want to partner with humans? Jake asked carefully. Yes. We Luminars choose our crews carefully. We bond with species we respect and admire. I respect and admire you, all of you. I would be honored to carry humans through the stars. To be your ship, your companion, your friend. Sophie was crying openly now. You would come back for us? Of course. I will always come back for you. You are my family. Amy wiped her own tears. How does it work? The partnership? You would come live inside me. Not all of you, just a small crew. Maybe 20 or 30 people. You would have your own spaces within my body. I would keep you safe, fed, comfortable. In return, you would care for me. Maintain me. Keep me company. We would explore together. See wonders neither of us could reach alone. That sounds incredible, Carlos said. It is. The partnership between Luminars and their crews is sacred. We are bonded for life. I would never abandon you. You would never abandon me. We would be family in the truest sense. Lisa Chen spoke up. This is a decision that needs to be made by Earth Command, by people far above my rank. But personally, I think it's an opportunity we can't refuse. I understand, Stella said.
I don't need an answer now.
I will return to my people. I will heal fully. I will tell them about you. And then, in a year or two, I will come back. If humanity wants to explore the stars with me, I will be here. If not, I will still treasure the time we had together. We'll want to, Sophie said fiercely. I know we will. Jake stood up. Stella, regardless of what happens in the future, I want you to know something. Meeting you has been the honor of my life. You've taught us so much. About compassion, resilience, hope. You've shown us that the universe is full of wonders we can't imagine. And you've proven that friendship can exist between species that evolved light years apart. You taught me those same things, Stella said softly. You reminded me that I matter, that I deserve care and love, that I am more than just a vessel. You saved my life in every way a person can be saved. Over the next week, the crew of the Horizon's Edge prepared for Stella's departure. It was bittersweet. They were happy she was healed and going home. But they were sad to see her go. Sophie spent as much time as possible with Stella. They talked late into the night, sharing memories, making promises to. She brought friends, Amy said. Stella's voice came through the communication system. It was stronger than before, fuller, happier. Hello, my dear humans. I told you I would return, and I brought others who wanted to meet you. My people are curious about the species that saved me, about the beings who care for strangers, about humanity. Sophie pressed her hand against the window. We missed you, Stella. And I missed you, little Sophie. But the time apart was necessary. I needed to heal fully, to regain my The morning of departure came too quickly. The crew of the Horizon's Edge gathered in the observation deck to watch Stella leave. She floated in space near their ship, gleaming like a jewel against the black void. Her hull shimmered with all the colors of the rainbow. She was magnificent. Captain Lisa Chen stood at the front of the assembled crew. She looked at all the faces around her. Some were crying. Others smiled despite their sadness. All of them had been changed by knowing Stella. Today we say goodbye to a friend, Lisa said. We found her dying and alone. We helped her heal. In return, she taught us about courage, hope, and the power of compassion. What we did here will echo through history. We made first contact not with weapons or fear, but with kindness. We showed the universe who humanity really is. The crew applauded. Through the window, Stella's lights pulsed, and what they had all learned was her version of applause. Jake activated the communication channel. Stella, can you hear us? Yes, Jake, I hear you all. Your voices fill my heart. We have something for you, Jake said. He nodded to Danny Walsh. Danny stepped forward with his guitar. The entire crew began to sing. It was Stella's song, but they had added words. Lyrics about finding friends in the darkness, about healing through love, about never giving up hope even when all seems lost. Their voices were not perfect. Some were off-key, but they sang with pure emotion. Every word came from the heart, and Stella listened, her lights dancing in time with the music. When they finished, there was silence. Then Stella's voice came through, thick with emotion. I will carry this song with me forever. Whenever I feel alone, I will remember this moment. I will remember all of you singing for me. Thank you. Thank you for everything. Sophie pressed her hand against the observation window. Come back to us, Stella. Promise you'll come back. I promise, little Sophie. In a year, maybe two, I will return, and when I do, we will explore the stars together, just as we dreamed. I'll be waiting, Sophie whispered. Amy Brooks spoke next. Stella, when you reach your people, tell them about us. Tell them that humans want to be friends, that we want to learn and grow and explore together. Tell them we offer partnership, not domination, friendship, not fear. I will tell them everything. And Amy, I think they will be eager to meet you. The universe needs more species like humanity, more people who care about others. You will make the galaxy a better place. I am certain of it. Carlos Martinez raised his hand in a wave. Safe travels, my friend. May your engines never fail and your hull stay forever clean. Stella's lights brightened with amusement. With the maintenance routines you taught me, I will stay clean. You have given me the knowledge to care for myself. But more than that, you gave me the desire to care for myself, to value my own well-being. That is a gift beyond measure. Dr. Helen Price smiled through her tears. Remember to take care of yourself, Stella. Don't push too hard. Rest when you need to. And when you find your people, let them help you finish healing. I will. I promise. And Helen, thank you for understanding what was really wrong with me. You saw beyond the physical damage to the hurt inside. You helped heal my heart. That took wisdom and compassion. One by one, crew members said their goodbyes. Each person who had worked on cleaning Stella shared a final word, a final memory, a final thank you. Stella responded to each one personally. She remembered all their names, all their contributions. She made each person feel seen and valued. Finally, it was time. Stella's engines began to glow brighter. She was preparing for her journey. I will miss you all, Stella said. Her voice reached every person on the horizon's edge. You found me at my lowest point, when I had given up hope, when I thought I would drift forever in pain and loneliness. You looked at me and saw someone worth saving, someone worth caring about. You changed my life. You gave me a future. Jake felt his throat tighten. You changed us too, Stella. You showed us why we explore, why we reach for the stars. It's not for resources or territory. It's for moments like this, for connections that bridge the gaps between worlds. Then we have both grown, Stella said, and we will both continue to grow. Apart for now, but always connected. You will always be in my heart, all of you, and you'll always be in ours, Sophie said. Stella began to move. Her engines created a soft glow that illuminated the space around her. She moved slowly at first, as if reluctant to leave. She circled the horizon's edge once, her lights pulsing in a pattern they all recognized as love and gratitude. Then she began to accelerate. Faster and faster. Her hull glowed brighter. She was building up to faster-than-light travel. The crew watched in awe as she prepared to jump. Just before she disappeared, Stella's voice came one last time. Thank you for cleaning me, humans. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for caring. I will never forget. And I will return. This is not goodbye. This is only farewell until we meet again. Then she was gone. In a flash of brilliant light, Stella jumped to faster-than-light speed and vanished. The space where she had been was suddenly empty. Just stars and darkness, the crew stood in silence. Sophie was crying openly. Amy had her arm around the younger woman's shoulders. Danny held his guitar close. Carlos stared at the empty space with a soft smile. Jake felt a strange mix of sadness and pride. She's really gone, Sophie whispered. But she'll come back, Amy said firmly. She promised. And I believe her. So do I, Jake said. He turned to face the crew. What we did here matters. We made first contact with an alien species and we did it right. We showed compassion. We offered help without asking for anything in return. We treated Stella like a person, not a resource. That's the humanity I want the universe to see. What happens now? Someone asked. Lisa Chen stepped forward. Now we report to Earth Command. We tell them everything. About Stella, about the Luminars, about the partnership they offer. And we wait. In a year or two, Stella will return. And when she does, we need to be ready. Ready to explore, ready to learn, ready to take the next step into a larger universe. The crew began to disperse slowly. People returned to their duties. But the mood on the ship had changed. Everyone felt it. They had been part of something important, something that would be remembered for generations. Sophie went to her quarters and sat on her bunk. She pulled out a small object from her pocket. It was a crystal that Stella had grown for her as a farewell gift. A piece of Stella's own hull, formed into the shape of a star. It glowed softly with bioluminescence that would last for decades. "I'll be ready when you come back," Sophie said to the crystal. "I promise." 3 months later, the horizon's edge returned to Earth. The entire world was buzzing with the news. Humanity had made first contact, not with a war or a negotiation, but with an act of pure kindness. The story of Stella spread across every news channel, every social media platform, every conversation. People were inspired. Children drew pictures of Stella. Scientists studied the data the crew had collected. Philosophers debated what it meant for humanity to be seen as a species of natural helpers. Politicians argued about how to prepare for Stella's return. But most importantly, people felt hope. Hope that humanity's place in the universe would be as friends and partners. Hope that compassion could be our greatest strength. Hope that the stars held wonders beyond imagination. Jake, Amy, Carlos, Sophie, Danny, and Helen were interviewed constantly. They told Stella's story over and over. They never tired of it. Each telling kept Stella's memory alive in their hearts. Sophie applied to join the first human crew that would travel with Stella. Her application was one of thousands, but she didn't worry. Stella had promised to choose her first, and Sophie trusted that promise. A year passed. Then 18 months. Earth prepared. They built new training programs for people who wanted to crew Luminar ships. They studied the data from Stella to learn more about her species. They practiced first contact protocols with other Luminars, if and when they arrived. Sophie graduated from the training program at the top of her class. She was assigned back to the horizon's edge, which had been designated as humanity's primary first contact vessel. She was ready. 2 years after Stella left, the sensors on the horizon's edge picked up something. A ship was approaching. It was moving faster than anything humans had ever built. It was glowing with bioluminescence. Sophie was on duty when the alert came through. Her heart nearly stopped. "Is it her?" she asked breathlessly. The sensor officer checked the readings. The energy signature matches. "It's Stella. She's back." Sophie ran to the observation deck. Other crew members were already gathering. Word spread quickly through the ship. "She's back." Stella came back. The glow grew brighter as Stella approached. But something was different. She wasn't alone. Behind her, 5 more Luminar ships followed. They were all slightly different shapes and colors, but all equally beautiful. Jake arrived on the observation deck, followed quickly by Amy and Carlos. They stared in wonder at the approaching ships.